All right, welcome back everyone. Let's get into it. We'll start with gold. We are looking somewhat accumulative, but we're coming down pretty fast. Mitigated supply, still overall bearish, very much so. Still bearish. Still bearish. These are just SFPs. So like overall on gold, we are fairly bearish at the moment. Even here you've got somewhat of a supply. Like it's not really the cleanest chart at the moment. Definitely wouldn't be looking to take any sort of trades just yet. Yeah, there's just I'm just not really looking to trade this range at the moment. Very counter context. We're leaving behind quite a bit of supply. Yeah, let's move on and we'll leave gold as is. Silver looked really good yesterday. And yeah, so far, honestly, still at play. We've mitigated supply perfectly. Still bullish on the hourly. Still very much so bullish on the hourly. We do still have extreme liquidity there. We are now bullish on the 3 hour. We are still bearish on the 4. So everything else is bearish, but lower time frame 1, 2, 3 hour, they are bullish. And it could favor this local accumulation scalp. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, this range honestly so far is still quite decent, and I'm looking to monitor this as it develops. But yeah, plan here is just a continuation of this slow down trend, leaving behind some nice buy side liquidity, which we can then just take on the break of structure. Boom, boom. That is the plan. So we will see how we go. Yeah, that's our extreme liquidity. That's fine. So honestly, not a whole lot has changed. And what I do want to see is if this is valid demand. As it might just be. Okay, it has been mitigated. Has been mitigated, so our focus is still the extreme liquidity below. Yeah, I wouldn't really use this as a confirmed tap 3. Got a beautiful reaction from it, but It's just too close to tap 2, and then it's also quite deep inside the range and not near our tap 1. So although you did have somewhat of a very local accumulation here. So yeah, let's see if we can slowly come back down into this extreme liquidity POI and go from there. All right, oil. The only reason I'm looking at this as a potential distribution is because it aligns well with the supply above. I'm about to double check and see if it also aligns well with any sessions. Not really. Asia high hasn't been taken yet, but Asia low has been taken, so maybe later on. We'll leave this as is. And we are still bullish for now, so yeah, this needs a bit more time to develop. NZD CAD. Well, we've SFP'd this daily high. And this daily high is also valid on the, it's valid on the 2-day. Okay, so it's a valid 2-day market structure high. Boom. We have ever so slightly mitigated the demand here, so that's not really of any use to us anymore. It is technically speaking a confirmed model 1, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. So the only thing I'll look at here is a potential Wyckoff within a Wyckoff entry here. If Asia low is, this could be really nice. Asia low, beautiful. We'll get rid of this so it no longer distracts us. Yeah, this could be quite lovely. We've grabbed Asia high as well beautifully. Is this a valid supply at POI? Yeah, perfect. Perfect supply POI here. It's also a valid 15-minute OBIF. This is our third tap POI. If we can get a nice pullback in here and a break of structure, that is all I need to short this. We're already in a confirmed model, so just be aware of that. Yeah, so far quite nice. Contextually speaking, Okay, so we broke to bearish here, but then we broke back to bullish here. And now we're technically still bullish on the hour, so this is a semi counter context move, so we'll see. Yeah, we're just gonna have to be patient and see how we approach this POI. But NZDCAD can remain at the top of the list. And at least locally, we're forming quite a decent return to zone here. Really, really nice. All right, this is NZ. This is the plan for NZDCAD. I'm just trying to see if I'm missing anything, but not really. There's no real demand here. All right, we'll leave that as is. GBP AUD. Model obviously never completed itself. Weekly is still bearish. Daily is still bullish. 4 hour might be bearish now. I'm going to take a gamble and say it is. Okay, not yet, still bullish. And this is bearish. So the hourly, oh, actually, okay, no, the hourly is bearish at the moment on GBP AUD. Well, this has kind of been mitigated on the lower time frame. Yeah, it has been mitigated on the lower time frame, so it's not really of interest to me. And there's not a whole lot happening locally. The only reason I'm maybe gonna, or not maybe, the only reason I will look at this as a potential distribution is because we've obviously shifted to bearish. So we might be able to catch a low time frame scalp here. So we will see. Asia low, range low, perfect. Perfect for a little intraday range. No demand below. The only thing I'm sort of waiting for is a better looking range, essentially, where we can really distinguish between a tab 1, tab 2. Then maybe around here we'll get a tab 3 somewhere in this vicinity and do something like that. Yeah, for a local scalp this is valid for now, but needs a little bit more time, so we'll see what happens. I'm also just a little skeptical, just because, no, I'm not skeptical, but because we've just bounced from demand, so it can be temporary though. So look, at the end of the day, if our confirmations align and we get a nice break of structure after a third tap, then I'm willing to risk a little bit there. So we'll see how we go. Semi-decent topping formation locally, but we have left a little bit of liquidity here. So also given the fact that we are in a confirmed accumulation once again, and the target is this range high, we can simply just do this. So we will see. But yeah, that is kind of it for GBP AD at the moment. We'll monitor this throughout the evening and see if we can potentially take any scalps. All right, let's move on to AUD CAD. Well, the hourly is now bullish, which might be aligning with everything else. So if we do pull back into any sort of extreme POI, then this is a very pro context accumulation. So the 4 hour is, yeah, 4 hours still bullish. Everything else is still bullish here. So the only thing I'm really looking at is to see if there are any better extreme liquidity or extreme demand POIs here for us to grab. Like this has been grabbed, and then the only other POI is this 15 minutes OBIF. Yes, there is quite a bit of liquidity below, which I don't really like, which is why I much favor a model 1 here. But if we do mitigate demand and once again the break of structure is very convincing, then I'm happy to risk a little bit and see how it plays out. It's clean demand, it's a very clean demand. So yeah, let's just see how we react from it. But yeah, so far model's quite clean. Model's quite clean. I do just need a return to zone coming into this potential third tap, not leaving any sort of supply behind and a nice strong break of structure. Preferably we just go all the way through, maybe temporarily bounce, come back, sweep extremes, and then push up. That is my preferred scenario, but anything is possible, so let's wait and see. I'm also even just gonna temporarily look at this range from a potential distribution going into an accumulation. So we will see. So yeah, well, I can look at this range as a distribution into an accumulation perspective like this. Boom, boom, boom. And then obviously if we do have a abrupt move down, then you don't necessarily need a return to zone, because you know that the abrupt move is because it was created by a distribution with the purpose of filling up buys for this accumulation. So that is sort of the pre-planning, but obviously anything is subject to change. If we don't get a distribution going into this accumulation, then I will obviously need a nice return to zone. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Euro USD. Yeah, already like three guys. Like there's 3 great models to monitor already in. Yeah, our first 3 pairs are already quite good to monitor. So let's see how we go for the rest of this market check. Hey, well, Euro USD is not really interesting to me at the moment, to be honest. Bullish on the hour. Yeah, we have just transitioned to bullish on the hour. Everything else is still bearish. So yeah, we'll just leave this as is, see what happens. Check on it tomorrow. Not interested for anything today. And then USD CHF. Ideally, I do want us to slowly come back up and, you know, get that third tap, but I feel like it'll be a while until that happens. For now, we are bearish on the hourly. So just something to be aware of. Given so, we could potentially grab some form of distribution here. So let's see what happens. 2 hour is, yeah, still bearish. And then the 4 hour is, 4 hour is still bullish. So we've only SFP'd the 4 hour low there. It might just be a temporary SFP, we don't know. Yeah, so far this distribution could be potentially Asia lows at the bottom as well. Perfect. This distribution could be aligning quite nicely. Really, really nice. Set my alert there. We've grabbed Asia high, Asia low intact. No real demand. I'm not seeing any. Like, you have this 5-minute OBIF here. Let's validate this on the 1 minute. It has been mitigated on the lower time frame, but you do have still quite a bit of imbalance there, so we can leave that as is. In terms of volume, it's not really backed by anything, so yeah, it's not really the most potent demand, if you will. But yeah, let's see how this USD CHF range plays out. It's aligning quite nicely with the low time frame bias of bearish, so we'll see how that plays out. All right, AUD USD, this is all we have pushed into this supply. All right, we've just deviated tap one here, so this is a valid potential distribution at the moment. If we hadn't, it would have been a little bit annoying, but okay, well, we're obviously bullish on the hour. Are we bullish on the 4 hour? I have a feeling we would be. Yeah, bullish on the hour as well, on the 4 hour as well. Well, that's that is a fairly clean extreme liquidity POI. Preferably we do get a model 1 sweeping this Asia high first. That would be preferred. It would be preferred, but we've seen it play out before without it sweeping it. Okay, and then we have Asia low right there. So far, every single pair that we've charted has a potential model, which is crazy for a Wednesday. But yeah, like preferred order flow here is we push up, sweep extreme liquidity, grab Asia high, and then just dump, just rip down. align with the higher time frame bias. We're in supply. Yeah, let's just see how this plays out. Very much so willing to try my luck at a local scalp here. Move this up. I think GBP AUD had a alert go off. Perfect. Honestly, I'm kind of looking for a model one here now, just because of the liquidity that was left here. Okay, Euro USD, obviously nothing was of interest there. AUD CHF, still very clearly bullish. We're in supply, but it looks like we're pushing higher. Not a whole lot I am interested in doing at the moment for AUD CHF. Yeah, just not a whole lot to at the moment. GBP NZD. Well, we're still bullish on the daily, but we are coming down quite aggressively, at least for the time being, and we are very much so bearish on everything else by the looks of it. Yeah, weekly still bearish. Yeah, so still overall bearish. Keeping an eye out for distributions, but we do have supply above, so maybe a little scalp here. So I'll tell you what, from what I've noticed, it's always the most random moves that you don't expect to play out that end up playing out. Like you got Asia low here. Obviously we missed this entry, if there even was an entry. Let's have a look. Where was the entry? So the entry was here, and then the retracement was here. Yeah, there's no real re-entry opportunity on this model, fortunately. I just wouldn't say there is. Nothing really holding price from going down, so I do think we're going to hit range low quite soon. But there was just never really a confirmation. Range duration 8 hours. Okay, not the worst. So we've just missed an entry on this. This was our 2 minutes. Very weak break of structure, but you did create supply in the meantime. Yeah, you do have supply there. Yeah, if we get a beautiful pullback in here, but I don't think so. I think this model is going to complete itself. So we will see. That is GBP and ZD. All right, Euro and ZD. We've done AUD CHF, have we? Yes. Euro and ZD. I believe we are still bearish. Yes, we are. Yeah, still bearish on everything else. Not a whole lot I'm too interested in doing at the moment. It's a very high time frame cumulative move, this. I think we're in. How valid is this demand though? That's my question. Well, we can use this as extreme liquidity. If we get a very local model, I'm very much willing to try a scalp, but that's only if. Because yeah, for the time being, there's a bit more to go until we get to this extreme liquidity POI. So we will see what happens. So yeah, it's only the weekly that's bullish. Everything else is quite bearish. So I wouldn't expect us to necessarily accumulate here. We are in demand, so there is an opportunity, but I can just see us doing this. So we'll see what happens. Euro GBP, and looks like this hasn't played out. So obviously we broke to bullish here. Broke to bullish. And we are technically speaking still bullish on the hour, but we are still bearish on the 4 hour. And yeah, not a whole lot I'm too interested in at the moment. Lots of liquidity above. Clean liquidity here. we will move on. Yeah, not a whole lot I'm too interested in Euro GBP at the moment. USD CAD. The USD CAD is just going lower. Still bullish on the daily, bearish on everything else. I would definitely not be looking to accumulate here just because of demand being so close and prices also creating supply above us. Yeah, clean supply being created. Yeah, let's just be patient here. We've got plenty of other models potentially looking in our favor, so and then yeah, we got this USD JPY range, which is now very, very awkward for my liking. Let me have a look. And we're also leaving behind quite a bit of buy-side liquidity at the moment, as you can see. There's also like a minor compression happening here, which you can see, or I can see. I'm quite intrigued as to how this is going to occur. It's not the cleanest yet, but let's see. But yeah, so obviously we broke to bearish in here at some point. Then we broke back to bullish. Then we broke to bearish. Broke to bullish here. Have we broken to bearish? That is our wick. No. So we are still bullish on the hour. Still bullish on the 2. And then bearish on the 4. I feel like this could be right. Yeah, very much so. So not a whole lot has changed. Yeah, it's just the price action here is just quite awkward. So I'm not really looking at even with this here, it's just not of interest to me. Asia low is probably there. Like honestly, I'm saying it's not of interest to me, but this could be like the one model that plays out. So we'll see. But Asia low is the range low. There is demand here, so just be mindful. You definitely need this to get mitigated first. If yeah, you definitely need this to get mitigated first if you were to ever look for a short here. liquidity is nice, but I think, oh, unless this has been mitigated, so that's fine. Bit of a demand chain there. So yeah, let's see if we can get something like this. Deep mitigation showing weakness, return to zone back into tab 3, and then a clean break of structure. Only time will tell, as they say. And then, is that valid supply? I think it might be. Which has been mitigated, okay. This isn't looking too bad, to be honest. So let's see how we go. A very local USD JPY scalp. With that just above Euro USD. It's going to be a lot of alerts going off, I know that for a fact. GBP USD, have we frozen? Well, we are back to bullish now on that candle close. So yeah, we are bullish on the hourly. We are bearish on the higher time frame, so I'm willing to look at this as a potential distribution model later down the track. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to give this a lot more time for now. And then GBP JPY. Okay, so this was a sort of pivotal moment here. We have broken our 2-day market structure to bullish. Therefore, this distribution is of no interest to us whatsoever. That's simple. So this can all be deleted like so. Very nice return to zone here, which I do like. Like a lovely return to zone. So let's see how this plays out on the higher time frame. I don't think there was any other POIs that might be of interest. Not really. Yeah, this is like from a, which I don't look at, I don't necessarily trade fair value gaps. Like from a fair value gap perspective, you could just say we're just filling a fair value gap and then dumping, which is why this high time frame distribution could actually be quite nice, quite for pro, not necessarily pro context, but it could be in our favor. So yeah, let's just see how this plays out across the next couple of week or two. But yeah, that is it for Forex. So I feel like there's a lot of, honestly, half of these have potential models playing. So let's keep an eye out. I'm not interested in this gold model. Maybe silver here, depending on how we move back down. Oil, still a bit more time. But yeah, essentially everything here, I'm just going to be monitoring very closely. NZD CAD is approaching this supply. So there might definitely be some moves to be, this is probably going to be invalid. AUD CAD still at play here. USD CHF still at play here. AUD USD moving up nicely to sweep. Extreme liquidity there. Is there demand creation there? Not really. GBP NZD's done. I'm gonna move these ones that are at play at the moment right at the top. This is probably going to complete. USD JPY needs a bit more time. Yeah, so at the moment, main focus NZD CAD and AUD USD. Let's see how this plays out. I am kind of favoring NZD CAD a bit more at the moment just because of how price action is and the return to zone that has been created. But you never know. Distance wise, it's a little bit on the shorter side, whereas AUD USD is on the longer side. Yeah, 16-hour range, 17-hour range. But yeah, let's see how we go. That is it, Forex. I'll do crypto shortly, but I'm going to be monitoring Forex. That is my main priority. So yeah, that is it for today, guys. Thank you for listening, viewing, watching. Subscribe if you made it this far, and I will catch you all soon. Peace.